Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Critical Mass. Well, another legend has passed in Hollywood. We thought we would discuss a little bit of his career. Mr. Sean Connery, I think Sir Sean Connery, was knighted. Passed away last week.
October 31st.
Halloween, scary.
90 years old, a career spanning 7 decades.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Yeah. We wish he would have been more successful, but let's dig into his career and take a look at some of the highlights, because he was known as turning down a few roles that might have been game changers for him. So we'll discuss a little bit of that as well. Coming up right after this. What do you guys remember about Sir Sean Connery?
He's a legend. A legend.
But why?
You know what? I didn't grow up knowing everything about him. He was kind of like before my time. Like 7 decades, and I came in the latter few decades. So I remember him from Raiders of the Lost Ark 3 and Dragonheart. As the voice of the dragon. And
Raiders of the Lost Ark 3, huh?
the third, yeah.
So Indiana Jones.
Whatever. So, but I know that he was one of the iconic James Bond, the first, and I didn't know him from the James Bond series.
No, me either. But you know what did it for me? You know what introduced Sean Connery to me? Wasn't even Sean Connery. The thing that introduced Sean Connery to me was the skits that they did on Saturday Night Live, where it was the Celebrity Jeopardy skits. And I watched those. I must have watched every one because I used to play them back to back to back to back because they were all so funny. If you get a second, look up on YouTube Saturday Night Live Celebrity Jeopardy, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay. He wasn't on it, but somebody portrayed him on it.
But it was good.
Now,
Good story then.
yeah, nice tribute. Somebody was making fun of you. Sean,
No, it's not that. You know, it's not that. You've watched them.
Well, let's put it this way: you may not even know him for his name or anything like that, but if you hear his voice, it's instantly recognizable, right? It's like James Earl Jones. He's got one of those voices that you instantly know who it is, right? And yes, he was absolutely the first James Bond. He was
the first James Bond?
Yeah,
Okay.
Dr. No.
Didn't know that.
He was the first, and quite literally, as far as I'm concerned, he's the best James Bond because he portrays James Bond the way he was meant to play. He was the sophisticated, spy, suave, debonair guy. And back then, the movies weren't as campy as they turned into with Roger Moore. And now they're all about the action instead of the story more, you know what I mean, with the new James Bond. And even Pierce Brosnan's James Bond, he's windsurfing off the cliff as a satellite shooting a laser beam at him.
Oh,
That was the 80s, right?
Spy doesn't do that.
No, but they didn't do it in the original James Bond with Sean Connery. He was a spy, and he didn't act like every woman in the world wanted to be with him. He just gave off that era. You know what I mean? You believed it back then. They didn't have to make these pretenses, that they do nowadays. But yeah, he's definitely, to me, he epitomizes James Bond.
Okay. So we recently watched some James Bond movies. Have you? I know Paul has. I know I have.
You've recently watched some James Bond movies?
Not James Bond. Sorry, Sean Connery movies.
Yeah.
Okay, so I watched 2. So I'll start. And I'm not going to start with a great example of a Sean Connery movie. He was offered the lead role, and he turned it down because of scheduling. He only had 1 week to shoot. And so I'm talking about the Highlander, and it was 1986, and he played the character Ramirez, which the Highlander, before he knows who he is, comes across Ramirez, and Ramirez mentors him in being a Highlander, the Immortal. And unfortunately, this movie was a steaming pile of crap.
But it has a big cult following.
It has.
It really does. It has a
following.
series.
It had. I think the budget was maybe $12 million. Okay,
Oof.
in '86, so it's not a lot.
Yeah.
And worldwide, it made less than half of that. But somehow everybody knows Highlander.
Yeah, there can be only one.
Now, Sean Connery's bit in it was a little bit amusing. He had a presence, but even the acting in it, even from Sean Connery, when they're doing the sword fighting and the movement practicing, it was pretty lame.
Little subpar.
It was a little subpar, but his presence, just listening to him, watching his facial expressions, it made you happy to see him there. So he actually was one of the good points of the movie. So
He's really good, but he has chosen some very interesting roles and that didn't really show off the best of his abilities sometimes. Which one did you rewatch?
I actually watched, in my opinion, his best movie, his best role is in The Rock, right? So I mean I don't know how long it's been.
I like
since
the
you
movie,
watched
but
it.
I wouldn't say it's his best yet.
1996 flick, where he plays I guess a British spy who's been imprisoned, and he's escaped from 2 maximum security prisons. I forgot Nicolas Cage was even in this movie, but Nicolas Cage plays a military chemist who breaks into Alcatraz along with Connery, who plays Mason, and a crack team of military specialists who, of course, as soon as they break in, immediately get killed. And so they're only left with Connery and Cage to save the day, and they have to go and defuse these missiles that are armed with a poison gas that's going to annihilate San Francisco. The movie was entertaining. Even watching it now it was a good watch.
why do you say that's Sean Connery's best movie?
Because I loved the role he played. He was very, very believable as this crazy old man spy who gets cleaned up. Doesn't matter what you throw at him, he's got a counter move for you, and he's just it was really, really well done.
He's no Snake Blixen, but
Blixen.
Blixen and Donner. Comet and Cupid. Well, actually, the one I think would be more along the lines of his best role would be The Untouchables with Kevin Costner, Robert De Niro. There are still lines that people remember strictly from that movie. He made it. He's the one who started him going after De Niro and how to fight back against the crime lords and that at the time. You know, what was that line he said? If they bring a knife, you bring a gun. They put one of yours in the hospital, you put one of theirs in the morgue. Mm-hmm. And he's that character. He's that tough, rugged guy. And he just, all of a sudden, he'll be talking and all these guys are talking around him like this, and he'll just turn to the camera and he'll say one line and swear. But that one line is stronger than the entire dialogue that everybody else, including De Niro and Costner, who were in their prime at that time, he kind of stole the show. He was the Untouchables as far as that movie is concerned.
That's saying a lot for that cast.
Yeah. Good cast.
It was an amazing cast. It really was. But he just stands out. His presence stands out in almost every role he does.
And I think a lot of people would call The Untouchables a classic.
Oh yeah,
It is, yeah.
yeah. Elliot Ness, absolutely. You said you watched 2. What was your other one?
My other one was an actual good movie. It was a very good movie. It was The Hunt for Red October, 1990. And the thing about this movie is it was filled with people, lots of people with presence, screen presence. Like, James Earl Jones. Okay, boom. Sean Connery, boom. You have the Soviet ambassador, I believe. What's his name? Joss. I'm going to put the picture here. This guy, when he's on the screen, he's listening to his voice. It's just, you're mesmerized. You want to hear more. He's like, yes, daddy. And the great... So many times you go into these sub movies or naval movies and you're saying, okay, well, that's all right visually. But everything about this, you believed. You believed they were on subs. You believed those subs were maneuvering underwater. The tension that's going on. I'm not going to say it was completely unpredictable, because I don't know if it's because I saw it before and I remembered, or if I just picked it out as I was watching. There's a saboteur and you're saying, oh, I bet that's the guy.
Yeah. I think that's actually the first Sean Connery movie I ever saw in the theater. It was Hunt for Red October.
Like, I was watching this and I was glued for the 2 hours that it was playing. It was an awesome movie. Too many good people in it.
Yeah, even Tim Curry, who is often known as kind of like over the top kind of an actor. He played a Russian diplomat in this one on the sub, and he did such a good job.
No, he was the doctor.
Sorry, the doctor. He was beside Sean Connery for a lot of the scenes, and he was so believable in this. And then I look at some of his other roles, and I went, "You're really good." I guess sometimes the presence of different actors make you a better actor as well, right?
Sam Neill, Stellan Skarsgård. There are too many, just like the Untouchables. It was such a good cast.
I guess you got to mention Alec Baldwin too, since he was kind of the star. Got to mention
the
him.
first of the Jack Ryan series. Yeah.
Before Alec Baldwin started not doing so.
Actually, Harrison Ford was offered the role and turned it down. And then Alec Baldwin did it and then asked for too much money, so they went and got Harrison Ford after that.
The one thing, I guess, to wrap it up, it's too we could go on and on. There's the Presidio, we have Dragonheart. There's, what was the one where it was all the monsters from lore, Frankenstein and all that?
Is that the League of Distinguished
Gentlemen? He chose that over an epic movie that I'm not going to say because people, but it would have been an epic movie. He chose that instead, thinking it might launch into a big series or something like that. He was not known for choosing his roles.
No, he turned down a bunch of big ones.
Yeah, big. So his career could have been even better than it is. He did Entrapment. He's so good at what he does. All I can say is he hasn't done a lot of movies lately.
Well, his last credit was 2012.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, we haven't seen recent movies of him, but his movies will last for decades and decades and decades. And his screen presence to this day is hard to beat.
Yeah.
There's very, very few actors out there that the minute you see them on screen, your eyes and focus are on them, no matter big part or not. Right?
Yeah, they own it.
Yeah. And he is definitely one of those actors, and he will be missed. Thankfully, we do have his movies to look back on and remember his great career. And what's great about it also, no scandal.
Yeah, he's never...
No real big scandal. And I'm so happy that we can finally say that sometimes with Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
So
hey, to Sean Connery.
Sean Connery, the original James Bond. And on that sad note, we'll see you next time. Why not check out some more of our other content down here below? Maybe check out the odd Sean Connery movie. Remember him fondly. And until next time, we'll see you on the channel.